this is all about story yangu. So today I have a legend, we call a legend. Msee ni akona tutajui Mombasa. Akona tutajui kuhusu kamera, anything about production. We are very happy that ametutembelea and we're going to listen to story yangu. So story yake, but in this podcast we call it story yangu. So welcome OKODE or John Fonto.
OKODE.
But people know you with John Fonto.
John Fonto alikuwa ni brand.
But then hiyo jina John Fonto ilitokea wapi?
History ya John Fonto is very interesting, eh? Nakumbuka 2007 to 8 if I'm not wrong. Tukifanya kazi na likes of Maina, ule wa colorist unamjua. Pinch.
Sikali sumbua sana huyo jamaa.
Pinch the Great, yes. Tukiona kina Clifford.
Kumu.
Clifford Kumu, hapo kuna Amisi Maguya, Ali Feather, list of other guys. So it happened that tulipata gig flani. I was still starting. I think I was about maybe 4 years into photography around that time, and then Page called me. No, Maina called me. Akaniambia bwana kuna kazi flani ya picha. Jamaa wataka upige picha wapi? Baobab Resort. Hii iko hapa nini? Next to
Kingston.
Yes, next to Kingston. Yes. So they needed some pictures for the rooms, you know, for the experience of the place. So I think I was using had a small camera, so a small Sony camera. These bridge cameras, semi-professional. But it happened that Rich Pictures was the company. Rich Pictures had just bought a new camera. It was called Konica Minolta.
Konica
Minolta. Because when the digital, during the digital era, when cameras were guys were moving from analog cameras to automatic cameras, and then now they're getting to digital cameras. Most of these companies were bought off. So like Konica was bought by Minolta, which later on was bought by Sony. That's the camera we're using right now. So since they were still rebranding, the camera was called Konica Minolta.
Konica Minolta.
Yeah, that was my first DSLR camera to use. Yeah, that's about 2008, about there. So Konica Minolta was a phenomenal camera. Yani ilikuwa ukiangalia sema kitu ni kali, napiga picha yani safi sana.
So tuseme Mombasa mzima.
Hiyo ndio kamera ya kwanza.
Ama mpaka Nairobi.
Yani around that time, from understanding, tukiwa Mombasa, hiyo ndio kamera ulikuwa ukiwa nayo. There were cameras kama Nikon wako na D50, hizi D100 I think ilikuwa, D70, yeah. Those were entry level cameras, but around that time they were very
powerful.
They were call it professional cameras, because bado watu wako hawajajua hizi zingine zilikuwa zimetoka. So since very few people knew how to use that camera, Konica Minolta ilikuwa yasumbua watu sana. People are not accustomed to DSLR. But sasa mimi niko na background ya kutumia analog cameras, yeah, from Canon EA program, kutumia Pentax ME, Super, Practica, Zenet. So I had this knowledge in DSLR cameras. So kila mara nasema bwana, twende kupiga picha bwana. Una kamera hapa DSLR. So tukaenda Baobab. So when I took the pictures, we did the setup nicely. Took the pictures, showed it to the proprietors of the place are they're Chinese or maybe Japanese. The Asians at Baobab. I think they're Chinese. So walivo jamaa alishwa picha hivi akaangalia sema, "Hey, nice fonto. Good fonto." Good photo.
So that's where the name John Fonto
Professional
came from.
photo. Dude, yes, good photo. So tukitoka hapo, tukapiga picha tukamaliza. Job went very well. Tukaenda ofisini, jamaa kaza John Fonto. Kina Alifedha,
Kina
Maina, wakaza
kina
John Fonto.
Clifford.
So kina Clifford, hapo jina ikazaliwa. So every time John Fonto,
So
Fonto session.
so hii jina kujipatia. It's not like nowadays somebody want to start a name anajirebrand ati. So where yako ilikuja from
People just started calling me that. Like I said, it just became a brand. Yeah, so a lot of people will meet me. They'll know me as John. I'm OKODE.
Okay.
OKODE the technician. But then this John Fonto I'm Juni nine. So they meet me holding camera, taking pictures. Like, where do John Fonto? So it was name known by by a lot of people, especially the fields of photography. But not everybody could identify John Fonto as this same person here. So it was more of like a brand of somebody. Like an artist, you will call somebody. I know artists have Ela's names, and then there's that, Then let me take you way back. Nimezaliwa ndani ya kamera. Actually, I'm the third generation of not photographers, but camera specialists. I started with my grandfather. So my grandfather, after he retired from, he was a magistrate way back, and then after retiring, he got into photography. I think this is way back in 1940s or 50s, somewhere there. So he got into photography, just normal pictures for family, just for fun. He was not doing it professionally. It was just, he had the love of photography. And then along the way, I think from what I had was, this camera used to break down because he used to travel and, you know, buy very sophisticated cameras back in the day.
On those years, those cameras cost how much?
I have no idea, but I have one camera that belonged to him. Actually, one of my in the story I'll let you know what happened, because I actually got my first camera, my first ever camera, DSLR camera. No, not DSLR, SLR camera, was my grandfather's camera.
Nice.
So, like I said, he started as a photographer. After during his retirement, he used to take pictures, and then.
So your grandfather started to be a photographer after the retirement. So how old was he by that time when he was retiring?
He was pretty old, because I think when now he's getting to photography. When he was doing the photography full time, because I have pictures that he took of my uncles and my dad when they were still young, running around. There's so many pictures. Like he has a very well documented photos of his family growing up, in video reels. Back then, people used to do the projectors, so he used to do videos and photos back in the day. Because he traveled, he managed to get this equipment. Because I know back then it was not easy to get such equipment like Rolei. I think they were using Rolei, Hazel Blade back then. Those kind of.
So the same camera he had, ndio alikuwa anatumia kufanya video na kupiga picha.
No. Kulikuwa na kamera za video which unazungusha hivi.
Because unajua ulikuwa uchungulie hivi.
Unashika unazungusha hivi, hazina sauti. And I remember when we were young growing up, we'll sit in the living room, I take a projector, and he'll play the videos of some of the shots he had taken.
Kwa hivyo tuseme hizi movie ambazo tunaona old school, ati mtu amekaa na familia yake wanaangalia projector, all experience that.
Nilifanya hiyo. Mnaketi chini hivi, nawasha hapo unaangalia. Haina sauti. Black and white. Na run tikiti mnaona watu wakitembea. Iko
is not that clean is.
Back then, it was clear for us. If you look at what we have today, yes, you probably say they're not very clear.
What I'm saying was just like maybe bumpy, or just.
Ile technology, it was ile film. What happens is that nowadays you take continuous frames like with a digital camera. So imagine you take continuous frames, but then if you play them, they become
other-
emotional,
yeah,
They- like
yeah.
like motion pictures.
Motion pictures.
Yeah, so they can move. So the technology then was the same. The film, just reel of film, was put in the we call them cassette. You'll put in the device, and then he'll rotate it at a certain speed. But I think he'll click something, so it will be taking snapshots of whatever motion activity is happening, and then he'll go process it. Whereas to me immediately, it has to be processed. We used to process film. Now this is a trick. Back then I was on a steamer. So what these are stories I was told. So, we were young then.
Okay.
What my grandfather used to do, alitobwanga shimo kwa roof, kwa mabati, toboa shimo, and then anangojea sasa ile jua inapita hapo kwenye hiyo shimo. What dark room? Did you ever use the dark room before? You know what dark room is?
No, I've not used a dark room.
So easy films are squeezy. Okay, let me talk about the studios that we had before the digital. The studios that we have today, where you go and print, are different from the ones we had back then. The film had to be processed in a dark room, and there are chemicals in a mix. Alafu for it to print on the piece of paper.
But I think what I say the paper, it passes through the water, the chemical. When it passes, alafu inakuwa moto, ikitoka is
so
very hot.
that process, I think at a college, what wanafundishwa hiyo process films.
Hata hapa KBC nasikia
wako na hizo machines. So since na saizi wanatumia light, there's intense light in a dark room, and then you get to imprint the negative into you process the negative, and then you imprint it in on the paper, photo paper.
Yeah.
So my grandfather used the sun to do that, and he could only print saa sita when the sun is at a particular point. Imetoboa hiyo shimo inakuja directly into the lens, and then so jua ikipita tu is done. You can't do anything.
Kesho.
Mpaka kesho ngoje tena jua itoke.
Ni kama ile magari ikienda leo.
So imagine that that level of ingenuity and creativity to do that. So how he got into repair work, because now that's where we all started, because photography, just normal, he was a professional photographer, he loved the idea of taking photos. And then camera started breaking down. Zikaribika, the only fundis were in Nairobi, amupeleke German.
So you are raised in Coast?
No.
You're not raised in Coast?
I was raised in Coast, but I go home as well. I went to.
So by that time your grandfather was in Mombasa ama alikuwa?
No, my grandfather was home. This is not in Mombasa.
Oh.
This is even before I was born. This is way back. This story I'm telling you, this is a story that has been passed down. I'm telling you, I'm third generation of camera experts. So my grandfather, learning through the ropes on his own, he managed to decode what camera is all about.
So you want to tell me?
Akaanza kutengeneza.
You want to tell me by that time yako kuna YouTube? Angekuwa fundi moja.
Yani yake ni kwa ni.
Kama anafanya without even.
Trust me, I don't know how he did it, but it was. Nikambe alidistort DNA ya generation yake yote, because from that mindset of fixing cameras, because he started fixing cameras. Sasa paka watu wanamletea, watu wengine wako wanamletea, akakuwa fundi wa kamera at home, si town.
Kwa hivyo fundi jaanzia tu hapa kwa.
Haianza kwangu.
Your grandfather was called OKODE?
No. It's called Okelo.
Okelo.
Yes.
Okay.
So Okelo was the family name. So he started that ufundi.
So you have Okelo in your name?
My name is John OKODE Okelo.
Oh, so now I can see where the genes.
Yes.
You know, people say hata majina pia wage naambatana na ile kitu mtu akona na
OKODE, that is my name. Okelo is a family name. Yeah. So I think from yeye kujua kutengeneza, to fix cameras, he then taught his children. Yeah. So some of his children picked up the art of fixing cameras. So hata kwa kiwa college wakisoma they'll take pictures na kutengeneza kamera za watu. But the one of them picked it up even more. Unajua watoto wote ziko sawa.
Oh, it's kweli. That's true.
One of them picked up the talent of fixing cameras. I think he really put a lot of time in it, tried to learn even more than what the grandfather taught him. That was my uncle. Nimeenda shule. Yeah, I was in school, primary school. Nimeenda nursery, primary school, secondary. So primary school and nursery, I used to see cameras. Our family cameras ilikuwa kila mahali.
So it's normal.
It was the cameras were there. Paka zilikuwa nacheza nazo na haribu na chapwa. Wewe unajua umegusa nini wewe? I didn't know what I was playing with. But there were cameras all over. But I didn't have interest yet kwa mambo camera. Mimi ni mtoto, mimi nataka kucheza. So when I got to college, high school. When I went to high school, that's when I started interacting with cameras. Now closely with cameras. Because now I will stay with my uncle. Na pale ye part time yake alikuwa mwalimu. So during his free time he will fix cameras. So during his free time there was a big table full of all types of cameras you can think about.
John Fonto, or we use OKODE. So I wanted to know that before ndio tuseme umemaliza shule. Nataka kujua, did you just jump into cameras? Is it something you did first before you go to the camera?
Before I go to the camera, I first, like I said, my first interaction with camera, nikashika kamera kwanza, was repairing. Before even nikaanza kupiga picha.
That was after school or before school?
I was still in school.
Oh.
So what happened, I thank my uncle for this, because without it, mimi kwa sijui mambo ya kuomba pocket money. So I remember one time I asked my uncle for some pocket money to go, I don't know where we were heading to, but one of those weekends you just want to hang out, and then naambia mzee kusaidia na pesa. So he gave me like 200 shillings. And then he told me, if you want to make money, I'll show you how. I'm like, yes, I'm interested. You want to make money? Good. So weekend in Rufika, he sat me down. He gave me a camera called, I'll never forget that, a camera called Praktika. Praktika, I think it's a Russian camera. Inalia vile jina nalia, Praktika. So ukipiga nalia Praktika. Ni chuma tupu. There's not even a single wire or plastic inside. Cast iron throughout. So he told me, he gave me the camera and gave me a box. He told me to dismantle that camera piece by piece and put the pieces on the box and name them. Screws, there are some screws that goes clockwise, some goes anti-clockwise. Weird people. These German and Russians.
You said weird people.
Because their cameras, so who opens the screws?
Russians.
You know?
They are Russians.
So this camera, it was, it had gears, it has moving parts. So it took me, I think, a whole week to dismantle the camera on the box with the screws, putting everything in place. Like these are screws for the top, this is the top part, the chassis, the shutter, and naming everything on the box. Yeah? Me kwa nachoka. Anambia, fanya, don't do anything else. Just open that. You're finished. Then he come and checks. No, hapo umekosea. Took me a whole week. So every day nikitoka shule, baada ya unacheza basketball, mimi narudi nakaa hapo, nafungua, naangalia, somewhat difficult, na kufundishwa how to open a screw without chipping the tips. 90 degrees, you have to jack it. So he taught me a lot. So after nishafungua nikamaliza, nikamwambia haya nimebomoa kila kitu. Akasema nice, good.
Funga sasa.
Now funga.
Yeah.
Put it back together. Yeah? So I tried putting it back together. So piece by piece, nikaregesha. So you put it back together and make sure it is working. Nikaregesha, haifanyi. I mean, it took me about a month or 2, or even probably more. Nikafanya, it worked. The first time I clicked it, ikapiga pakata. I was so excited. Nikampelekea. Akatest, akanambia inapiga lakini speeds zimeset vibaya. They're not correct.
You open again?
No. So it's like now, you just open a small part, he showed me how to reset the speeds and make sure they are synchronized. Because, you know, there's, Practica had very few speeds, like B, 30, 60, 128, 125. I think the highest was 250. So the speeds, you need to know how the speeds inalia. So as set, kuna mlio wa kila speed. Sisi kama hizi unaweza kuangalia imeandika pale, huwezi jua. So you used to set the speeds. So when I managed to set Practica, I did it well. Told me now, from tomorrow unaanza kutengeneza camera. And so people were using Practica around that time. So mtu yote akileta Practica, mpatie John.
Window fundi
wa Practica.
Na uko school sasa hiyo?
Niko shule, nikitoka
shule.
So
uko shule mbili?
Nikitoka class, baada ya kucheza ninakuja kutengeneza camera.
Kwa hivyo uko shule mbili sasa.
And I'm getting paid.
Yeah?
Yes.
So the other school, iko na privileges.
That's why 844. Hii nasoma kutengeneza pesa.
Alafu sasa uko na shule mbili, bali shule moja unalipwa. Shule moja ni ya kawaida.
Hii nyingine
unapeleka fee.
This is actually me I think the Chinese knows this very well, because that I see on YouTube, they teach their kids from a very young age how to fix things, how to make money. Just small trades, how to fend for yourself, because you never know. Education might fail at some point.
True. So
my uncle, I really applaud him for teaching me how to fix camera at that young, tender age. Not even young though, but in high school.